Hello there and welcome to the new tutorial where we will going to look at the numeric slicer. So numeric slicer is a very useful feature or a very useful control for filtering the data. So think about a scenario where you need to, or your user is basically asking you to provide, let's say, a filter where they can select the start of the range and end of the range, let's say for example the sales, and they want to look at within a specific range what are the different products that are being sold. So for example, say products which are having the low value of sales, product which are having the medium value of sales and the high value of sales, because that opens up a new opportunity to look at your data from a different perspective. And we will see in this video how we can create a numeric slicer, which is also very straightforward. If you have already seen the other slicers that we have created, we will going to create in a similar way this slicer and filter the visualization. So let's go ahead and go into the Power BI and create it. So here we are within the Power BI, and I'll just click outside and select this slicer. Once we have this slicer, what I will going to add is the sales. Once I add the sales, it will add like a range. So if you remember from the previous video, when we added the dates, it added the date as a range as a default. So similarly over here, we have the option of having, or it has, Power BI has the default option of giving you the slider for the range of values for numeric values. Now, if I want, I can reduce the values to, so the sales is starting from 2.24 and going all the way to 13,906. And in this case, it shows that these are the various products which has been sold in this category. Or if you want to further reduce it, let's say to just 3,000, you will see the various products which has been sold, and now it's a different information altogether. For example, if you see the bookcases, it has some negative value which probably go in a way to identify what is going on over here. So that's one thing that you can uncover with the help of the slicer. Another one is, let's say, some medium size products that you are looking for. So for example, sale between 31,000 and 55,000 is only for copier and fax and office machines. So that means these are some of the very high value product or medium high value product which is being sold. Then you can go in the end, which is 89,000, and starting with the 7,000. Again, office machines are coming as the products where you have the highest sales. So this uncovers, as I mentioned it, this uncovers a lot of valuable information, and then it is up to you how much we want to massage the information for those negative values, as to keep the negative values different and positive values different. But that's more of an advanced thing. But here we have the option by which we can make sure that we can look at a specific segment of the data by adjusting the ranges. If you want to clean it, like earlier the date slicer, we can clean it with the help of this clear selection. Also, from this drop down, you have the option of between. You have the option of using it as a list. For each value, you have the drop down that will going to save the space for you. You can select this value for each of the different products as the sales is present for each of the product. Also, a couple of others like less than or equal to. That means the minimum is fixed. You can change the maximum. That way you will see that right from the start to a given range of your interest, what are the different values that is coming. And opposite for this is greater than and equal to, which is by default fixed. The higher value is fixed. Then you can just adjust the start value and see what are those values which are coming in. So if you adjust it, you will start seeing your entire dashboard or your report, which is, half created report that we have right now, is being filtered over here. Also, like the text filter and the date filter, we have created the hierarchies. Here also you can create the hierarchies by, let's say, along with the sales, you may want to have, or you are having an interest of quantity as to what the quantity that is being sold, you want to filter that. So now you have the option by which you can select this information. And as we make the changes, you will see that over here we only get the two different options. That means your option within the list box as to how it will be shown to you will be changed. So let's say we want to see it as a drop down, and within the drop down we get this information of different products. Let's say for this particular product the quantity is just 3 for maybe one particular order. So we will just click over here and it shows you the product information, that binders and binder accessories, and what has been its value, which is in a negative 14.16. But just to show you that this is the flexibility that we have by which we can display the information even as in hierarchy. If you have something meaningful hierarchy for you that you may want to look at as part of the information presentation on the dashboard. So that's about how you can create the various different slicers within the Power BI. And like I have shown you earlier, if you have a need to format it, you can always come here in the formatting option, like the slicer header option or the selection control that we looked at, whether we want a single select or multi-select. All of these options are available, like select all, that you can change and explore with the help of the options which is given over here, and pretty straightforward. And if you have any question, you can put it in the comments and I will respond to you. So that's about it, and now let's meet in the next topic. Hello there and welcome to the new topic, which is changing slicer look and feel with the selection type. So far you must have seen the slicer which is used as a filter. So question arises, why would you like to change the look and feel? So the look and feel sometimes need to change because your organization follows a specific type of look and feel when it comes to colors and fonts and formatting. Another way to use or change the look and feel is so that you can make your dashboard a little bit more beautiful with not just one type of formatting or the look and feel, but a slightly different types of selection as a button which Power BI provides for the slicers or the filters. So let's see within the Power BI how you can do that. So here we are within Power BI, and if you see, this is the slicer that we have, and creating a slicer is very easy. So if I just remove that and try to show you again, here we have the slicer icon. If we create that, it will going to by default pick a best place where it want to show, but you can drag it wherever you want you would like to place it. Let's say I want to place it over here, and then I need to choose the field which I want within the slicer. So for that, what I will going to, let's say, choose is the ship mode. So there are different types of ship mode, which is by delivery truck, express air and regular air, and there is some blank values as well. So blank is coming over here, so which is also pretty interesting, so that you can look at what are those orders or what are those sales orders in which you have no shipping mode value present, and you can then investigate what really happened. Is it like the clerical error or something else? Because ideally you should have the value present for each and every order. All right. So if we want to change the look and feel, the first thing we will going to do is change this from list box to something which is good looking buttons. So earlier, if you would have seen my slicer video, there is one option over here. Here you can change from list. So right now we are in a list mode and we can change it to a drop down, but that is not more of a button which I was referring you. So what I can do is change this back to the list. And then from here we have this format icon. So if we click over here and change from the selection control, I believe that's where it is present. No, it's basically in the general. So in the general you have the orientation. So from orientation vertical, so right now it is in a vertical fashion. That means one over another, not side by side. So if you want to create a side by side, what we can do is choose the horizontal. And when we choose the horizontal, the layout of these buttons changes. So once we click over here, you see that it is sort of a buttons which has now created, which I can change it as per my need. And as I am moving ahead, you can see that right now there is a space for showing 2 buttons. But if we just increase this, it will start showing you the 4 different buttons. and then you can adjust it as much as you want. So this feels like there are 4 buttons which has been given. So for example, I can click on delivery truck. It will start showing you the delivery truck and it's highlighted as well. Similarly, express air, it shows that express air is now highlighted, and if I click on regular air, it will show you the regular air values. Now all of these values are basically the same which is earlier present in the list box, but now we have changed the formatting to show it more like a button by just changing the orientation. So format, and within that, in general, you change the orientation. Now a couple of options over here which is present, like the X position, whether you want responsive or not. So if we just disable that, what you will see is more like a normal text which is present, but when you hover your mouse over to the button, you will see that there is some highlight, gray highlight which is present, which once you click is highlighted in black, but rest other are showing you, or the rest these values, if it is not selected or your mouse are not on top of it, on top of these values, then it is shown as the normal text values. So that's why some of the formatting option you may want to choose is to play around with, make sure that what makes sense. I will enable the responsive because I want to see this type of icon. And then down there you have a couple of more options like the alternate text. So enter a description that will be read by a screen reader. So this is more when someone is blind and not able to basically see our component, and this will going to help them understand what component it is. Similarly, you have the selection control. So right now we have the single select option off. That means by holding down my control key, using this option multi-select with control, since it is enabled, I can hold down my control key and enable the regular air. But if my single select is on, then only one value will be selected. And another interesting thing over here is one value will always be selected. So this is also one of the way by which you can optimize or run your report faster whenever you are opening it, because when you will open it, it will only load the data which is related to the selection or the default selection which you would probably always want the user should see. And that will going to help you reduce the data which these visualizations are taking during the time of opening up. So whenever there is a situation that your application is taking a lot of time and you want to reduce that, you use this option. All right. Afterwards, rest of the other items is more like what title you want. So for example, the alignment, if you want the alignment and all. Right now we have this title which is ship mode. So if we enable that, all of these options will be enabled to you. What should be the slicer header? Right now it is mentioned as shipping mode, the font color and the background color. So it's very straightforward, and that's why I'm just rushing over here as to what are the options which is present. Similarly in the items, what sort of font color you want, the background color, so on and so forth. So this is something which I would leave you with to explore further. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comments, but this is at a high level. I wanted to show you some of the interesting features which is present in the filter, like the button sort of an option, which you can use it for the purpose of filtering and make your dashboard look more interactive. So that's about it, and I'll meet you in the next topic. Hello there, and welcome to the new topic, how to create Power BI stacked column chart. So the first question that arises, what is stacked column chart? And then why would you actually go and create the stacked column chart? So a stacked column chart, as the name suggests, you have a bar chart where you have the small stacks, which is nothing but your dimension values. So for example, you have the different products and you want to know for each product what sort of shipping that has been done over there. So shipping is present as a small stack for each product, where if let's say a shipping is by a high regular air and very low shipping is done by the delivery truck, then you are able to see very clearly how the shipping is being done for various different products. So whenever you have a scenario where your user is looking for an information from these two different perspectives, then you will going to use the stack bar chart. So let's see in Power BI how the stack bar chart really looks like, and then how we can create it from the scratch. So here is the bar chart or the stack bar chart that is present for each of the product, like the technology, the furniture, and the office supply. And for this you have the different shipping modes, like I explained, the delivery truck, the express air, or the regular air. So clearly the regular air is the one which is being used a lot in technology, whereas the over here, if you see, the delivery truck is being used a lot in the furniture. So this makes sense as well, also reveals interesting information as to if there will be a technology product, there is a high chance that you will going to use the regular air as compared to the furniture, which is going to use the delivery truck for making the delivery. Similarly here, in case of office supplies, is also very highly dependent on the regular air. That means most of your delivery within the business is happening with the help of the regular air, and you can look at the better deals or maybe negotiate the better rates, since your business depends on this a lot and probably you are giving more business. So this calls for some action once you get a visibility as to what shipping mode is really being used by your company and where you can have more advantage for making the negotiations. So this type of information is being revealed by the stack bar chart, where if you see furniture, a very small part, just $863,000, and express air is very less, 159, and delivery truck is being the highest one. So how we can create this chart, I will show you in just a minute. So what I'll do is, first I will select this and delete it. I'll expand the visualization pane, and over here we have two options. The very first option is the horizontal stack bar chart, and the second option is this vertical stack bar chart. So let's create this vertical stack bar chart, and over here what we will going to take is the product category. So now the product category is selected. For legend, what we will going to take is the ship mode from here. So we have taken the ship mode, and finally we need to provide the values. So values will come from the sales. We can take any value, but sales is being the most useful one in this scenario. So I'll take the sales, and now if you see, the same chart, the same stack chart is being created for us. So now we have a very clear idea as to how to create it and in which scenario you will going to produce this sort of a stack bar chart. But that's mainly what it is, in a very simple stack bar chart. However, if you want, you can change the orientation. Like if you just click over here, you see this, your orientation is changed. And sometimes I feel that this comparison looks pretty nice, because now you have the dark blue color which is at the rightmost, and you can clearly compare in these three categories. Similarly, the lightest blue color is the leftmost. Then you can compare these three ones. So I find this, the horizontal way looks way much better for an eye for the comparison perspective. And my recommendation is also that if you have one single bar chart like this and you are creating a stack bar chart like this, then you will probably use the horizontal one. Not only it helps comparing it, but it makes your dashboard look and feel pretty good, because shows that the similar chart but with the different orientation. So that's about it, how you will going to create the bar chart, in what sort of a scenario and what sort of information it will going to reveal, and then how you can change the orientation from vertical to horizontal. Alright, so that's about it, and now I'll meet you in the next topic. Hello there, and welcome to the next topic, how to create 100% stack bar chart within Power BI. So earlier, if you remember, we have looked at the stacked column chart, and this is the 100% stacked bar chart. So what actually the difference between a normal stack bar chart and a 100% stack bar chart, and why would you create it? Well, The basic difference between the stacked bar chart and the 100% stacked bar chart is how it shows you the value. In a stacked bar chart, it shows you the actual value, and in the 100% stacked bar chart, it changes those value into the percentages. That means it is the proportion that it shows within the chart. So for example, if suppose you have a product A, within that you have 3 different categories, then instead of showing the value, it will show you the percentage of sales within these 3 categories. And if say, let's say first category is 40%, another category is 20%, and the last category is 40%, we're going to make 100% bar for that particular product. And now we will see within Power BI how it actually looks like and how we can create the 100% stack bar chart. But whenever your user has a need that they want to look at not just the value but also the comparison, that how this category is compared to the another category from the percentage perspective, you will going to create the stack bar chart, which is 100% stack bar chart. Now let's go into the Power BI. Alright, so here what we have is the 3 different products categories, which is technology, furniture and office supplies, sales information, and it is the sales in various regions. Like Yukon is present over here showing you the values. So right now the values are present and it is slightly difficult to see whether this category, which is 927431, compared to this category 796. So definitely 796 is the one which is lesser than this particular category. But if you look at the bar and size, you will first look at that, okay, this looks same, and you don't know even in the percentage term that how much it is contributing into your overall business of the office supplies. So to change that, what one thing we can do, so right now if you see this is a stack bar chart, we can just click on the 100% stack bar chart. As we click on the 100% stack bar chart, first of all, the entire visualization is changed to 100%. If you see, this has become a 100% stack bar chart where each category is being contributed based on how much percentage they have in a higher level category, which is office supplies. So in office supplies, you have the region Ontario, which is contributing the value $927,000, and their contribution percentage is to 24.73. Similarly over here for this particular category, the region is West and your contribution is what, 21.24. So it reveals one additional step from the perspective of comparison, as well as to know how much each category is contributing. And now what you can even do is look at these multiple product categories and see that in case of a technology, definitely that's the highest one within the West region. So among the different categories as well, you can do the comparison when you have the 100% stack bar chart. This was not available when you look at a simple chart, which is a stack bar chart. You can't really do a lot of comparison. But whenever there is a 100% stack bar chart, you have this comparison clearly available because it is more aligned to the visualization, which is one top of another. Now this is one way how you can create it. Another way is by looking at this vertical orientation. So once I click over here, you will see now the bar chart is in a vertical format. But like I said earlier in my previous video, I don't really like it in a vertical format because this does not really help me do a lot of good comparison from a normal eye perspective. So that's based on my experience about how my user wanted. So always what I recommend is use like this, which is much better representation of in case of the stack bar chart or in case of a normal bar chart as well. So that's about how you can create the 100% stack bar chart. Also, the process is very same as compared to the when you compare it with the normal stack bar chart, where if I just delete this, click anywhere on the outside, select this 100% stack bar chart, select the first category, which is the product category, the second, which is the region over here, and third, which is the sales. and it will going to create the same chart, in case if you are wondering how to create it absolutely from the scratch. So that's about it, and now I will meet you in a new topic. Hi there, and welcome to the new video, how to create pie chart within Power BI. So before creating the pie chart, the question arises, what is pie chart and why would you actually create a pie chart? How it will be helpful in your report or a dashboard? So let's look at the first question. What is pie chart? So pie chart is sort of a circle sort of shape which shows the contribution or the percentage contribution of each category. For example, if you have the product and you are selling it into different regions, then it shows how much you are selling in a one particular region. For example, let's say in West you have 60% sale, in East you have 20% sale, and in North you have 20% sale. Then it shows this visualization in a very meaningful way, which is showing you the overall contribution of sales in various regions. So that's about pie chart. But since it is one of the oldest form of a chart, if you will see any historical report which goes back to 10 or even 20 years, pie chart has been used a lot by the reporting analyst or the statisticians. So the question arises, why would you like to even use it today? Whether it will going to really provide a meaningful information, because it's been seen by pretty much everyone. So what sort of innovation it can provide to your report? Well, only in the scenario when the contribution is impactful. What that means is, if you have a sales and 80% of the sales is happening in the West region and you want to highlight that, the pie chart is useful. But if it is something like 30% sale is happening in West, 30% in East, and rest 40% is in North, then this chart is not useful. I would never recommend you would use this chart. If you would have to use this, probably use the bar chart with the right axis, but don't use the pie chart. So pie chart, you will going to use it only and only when you have the high impact category that you want to show within your report or visualization. Now let's go ahead and see how to create pie chart within Power BI. Alright, so here we are within Power BI, and what do we have for creating the pie chart is this icon, which you can see sort of which shows you a circle shape, and it has the two parts, the blue part and the white part. Alright, so if we click over here, it shows you again the same contribution, the first contribution, second, third and fourth. And what I'm going to choose to show you the impact is the shipping mode. So if I just select the shipping mode, so shipping mode is blank, delivery truck, express air and regular air, and I will going to show the sales. Now this is an impactful chart. Why? Because more than 50%, the 50.3% is being contributed by just one single category, and what it is regular air. That means for your business, this is one of the important category which you may want to highlight. And the second important category is basically the delivery truck. And the very least business is happening with the express air. So all these three categories is showing the impact that it is making on the business, and it's a very high impact, if you will see. Similarly, if you have any other category that if you are experimenting with what type of chart you need to create and you figure it out, okay, 70% is being contributed by one single category and rest other categories is contributing 10% or 5%, I think that's where you will again going to use it. But there is another rule. If your categories are going to increase by the, let's say you have 5 categories, 8, 10 categories, then also I suggest that don't use it. If you have just 3 or 4 categories, and again those are high impact categories, some of the from those categories, then you use this Power BI. Otherwise there is no point that you use it, because it will going to confuse the user if the contribution is relatively same. And probably to demonstrate that, what we can do is we can take this region, and let me just try to put it on top of the ship mode and remove this. So now if you see, this is not a very meaningful chart. Again, your categories are going beyond 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First thing is your eyes will have to do a lot of exercise, or your end user eye will have to do a lot of exercise. Okay, what is this color? What is this color? Where is this vest? Okay, this is the vest. Here is the vest. Whether this is high or this is high, whether this is high or this is high, you will not be able to see until and unless you clearly again do an exercise of looking at each and every number over here. So this type of chart, in my view, is a confusing one, and I generally don't recommend and I don't use it, because first, categories are going beyond 5, and then there is a very less percentage margin between each or among each categories. So that's why I wanted to show you both the ways as to when to use it and when not to use it. Now I leave it up to you as to make the decision when do you want to use it, but that's about how you will going to create the chart. And then you always have the option of format it by going into the formatting over here, and formatting is pretty much the same, so I'm not covering it again and again. But if you are interested in looking into this information and want to ask any question, let me know in the comments. But that's about it, and I'll meet you in the next topic, which is similar to pie chart or a form of a pie chart, which is a donut chart. Hello there, and welcome to the next topic, which is how to create Power BI donut chart. So donut chart, if you see, is very similar to this pie chart that we covered in the previous video, and that shows the contribution of each category in the overall value. For example, if you have how much sales you have among various different products, or the shipping mode, if you are shipping your products, what sort of shipping mode you are choosing more as compared to the other. So the donut chart is sort of a modern pie chart, what I would say. What it has is basically a donut shape, and because of its shape, it makes it a little bit more interactive. And instead of pie chart, then you can also use the donut chart. Also, it has the feature where in the blank space that it has, so for example, if you have ever seen the donut, it has that middle section which is blank. You can put sort of a KPI information as well. So sometimes it is used as a KPI chart as well. So let's see how you can create the donut chart and then use it within the Power BI. Alright, so here we are, and to create the donut chart, what do we have is this donut type of a shape, and the tooltip is also indicating that it is a donut chart. So we will click over here, and I will going to use the ship mode over here, and then I will going to provide the sales value. Now this is indicating that how much sales is being done by a particular type of shipping mode. So for example, you have this regular air contributing to a very big part of the donut, which is 50.37. The second one is the delivery truck, which is 41.68, and 1.18 million is for the third category, which is the express air, contributing to 7.95. And like I was mentioning, it has some blank space. You can put some sort of a KPI or a value using the another KPI sort of or the mark card over here, the card information, which basically shows you the one single numeric information generally used as a KPI or the high level value which management or the end user would like to see, and it is important for them. You just put it over here, which is relevant in this context of the donut chart. The donut chart. All right. So if you need to format, the one formatting which I really like is putting these legends along with this chart, so that you don't have to look here and then see what color it is. So for that, you can click over here on the format, and here you have this details labels, and you have this label style. So right now you have the option, and by default data value and percent of total is shown, but you can click on all detail labels, and that way it will show you the each category value as well. So this is express air, this is delivery truck, and this is regular air. And then you don't need this legend. So what you can do is you can uncheck this, and from legend you can disable this, and that way you will going to get a little bit more area. Another one is increasing or decreasing this circle shape. That means giving more size or creating more white space over here, which you can do with the help of the shapes. And over here the inner radius is 60. You can either decrease it, which will going to decrease the inner radius, and you can increase it to increase the inner radius, which is more like a very thin circle, which I will just put it like 80, and I think yeah, that should be enough to show the impact. And you have a little bit more area where you can put a relevant text, a relevant KPI, which is in combination of the ship mode, if that is relevant for your end user. So that's about how you can create the donut chart, in which scenario you will going to use it, and what sort of changes using the formatting that you can do to make your donut chart more impactful. So that's about it, and I'll meet you in the next topic. Hello there, and welcome to the Power BI line chart tutorial. And in this video I will show you why you need to create the Power BI line chart, and then how you would going to create it. So think about this: whenever your users is asking you the information that how their sales is performing over a period of time, or how many number of hiring we have done in the previous X month or Y month, then in that case what you basically show is sort of a line chart that indicates the trend. And what I mean by that is a chart like this, where you have the sales by year, and suppose you have been asked with the query how you have been performing in last 4 years, then your answer will be that your growth or your sales have gone down as compared to 2009, where in 2009 you were close to 4.2 million, whereas over here in 2012 you are close to 3.7 million. So that's sort of the answer, which basically gives a high level picture how your sales trend over a period of time, and that is best representable with the help of the line chart. Now the second question is, how would you going to create it within Power BI? So for that, let's go into the Power BI. So here we have the line chart over here. So what I'll do is, first I'll just remove that to create it from the scratch, and I will going to click over here, which is the line chart. Once I have the line chart over here, I need to select the order date. Once I select it, along with the order date, if you observe, we have the year, quarter, month, and day information. That means it is creating the hierarchy automatically with the help of the lower level dates which is present. Now what we will going to provide it is the sales. So once we have the sales, it will going to create the same chart that we have seen earlier, showing you the sales information over a period of time. Now on this chart we have some flexibility. For example, as you can see, we have the year, quarter, month, and day. That means we can go level down into the hierarchy up to the day level and view this information. Now to see that, what we need to do is click over here on this down arrow. Once we click over here, we can go to any of the point like 2011 or 2010 or 2009. Let's say we are interested in looking at 2010 information. So if I click on the 2010, so now it shows the one level down information, which is the quarter information. So after year you have quarter, and that's what it is showing you here in the title, sales by year and quarter. So that's the intelligent information or the intelligent display of the information which Power BI is doing. So clearly in 2010 there is some very high sales which has gone in the fourth calendar quarter, that means from October to December. So that information is clearly visible over here. Now if you are interested in more looking into what happened in 2010, then we will click over here. It will show those 3 months, that in October it was high, but in November it gone down, and then again in December it has gone up. So if you are interested in looking at what happened in 2009 as to if there are any dates which is responsible for this, so if I just click it over here, you will see that in some of these dates, which is 4th November, and then down there over here you have 13th November, and this one was 11th November, not the 4th one which I mentioned. So these are some of the dates where the lower values of the sales were present. You can click over here on any of these values. So for example, like this one, and what it does is for all of these different dates, you have these product subcategory and other charts which is being also filtered accordingly. So that's the hierarchical information that is present over here. If I want to go up into the hierarchy, I can come over here and click on the drill up or the hierarchy one level up icon. So if I just click over here, it will move to month. Again I will click, then the month will disappear and the quarter will come. So if I just click it, the year and quarter, and if I'll go one level up, it will show the year information. Now this is one level of information. Another level of information, what it has is this one, go to the next level hierarchy. So what it does, if I just click it over here, it shows the quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3 and quarter 4. So what it has, just the quarter information but not the year information. That means the quarter 1 is basically the representation of 2009, 10, 11 and 12. So what it shows you is a very higher level trend if we are just interested to look at how the quarter 1 has been in past 4 years, right? Similarly, if you again click it, it will show you the month. If you again click it, it will show you the dates. So from 0 to 31 and over a period of 4 years, how the sale has been into these particular dates. So if you want to go up again, you can click on this icon, drill up, and it will go up to the 2010 or 11. That means the year level, which is the highest level in the hierarchy. Now there is a third information as well, which is expand all down one level of hierarchy. So earlier we have seen that when we moved to a particular year, then only we were able to see that quarter information or that month information. Then we saw that quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 when we clicked over here. That means the 4-year information was aggregated into one quarter or the 1 month or the one date. But what it does is it just expands all the quarters or all the months which is present in this column. So if I just click it over here, these are the various quarters right from 2009 up till 2012, which is the last, which is having the last date. If we again click it over here, it will go down to month. So it's showing you all the months during this 4 period, and then up to a day level, which shows you the day level information, which now as you can see becomes really dense. So that's the different level of information that is available. Very handy for an end user, because this gives a lot of flexibility to your end user as to how they want to see the data or how they want to view the information within the line chart. So that's mainly I wanted to show you about how the various options that is available within the line chart once you have created it, so that you can analyze or your end user can analyze in a way they want it. So that's pretty much it, and now I'll meet you in the next topic. Hello there and welcome to the new tutorial where we will going to look at how to create Power BI area chart. So we will start with the first of all what the area chart is and how it is useful to represent the information. To answer this, let me show you an area chart which is present here. Let me put it. And if you see, an area chart is basically an extension of the line chart, which shows the information over a period of time like 2009, 10, 11 and 12. So it's basically the sales. So in the previous video, when you have seen the line chart to show you or to view the trend information, we just had one line. But over here in the area chart, we have multiple lines bifurcated by the product category. So that's why I say it is a natural extension. Whenever we have a query from the user that they want to understand whether the product is increasing or expanding or shrinking. That means if you look at the furniture, which is the highest level or at the top, after 2011 the sale is sort of increasing, but for office supply, if you see, compared to 2011 the sale is shrinking. So this is the information that it provides, whether your product is basically expanding in sales or shrinking in sales, and with that it reveals some interesting information as to how the product is moving. And similarly, in case of technology, if you see, the product sale is expanding. So this is the interesting information. It describes, like, over a period of time, how the measure of your interest, whether the sales, whether the profit, whether the hiring, whether the attrition is basically increasing, expanding, or decreasing, or coming down. So now let's see how we can create it within Power BI. So to create it within Power BI, what we will going to take is this option. And first of all, make sure that you don't have anything selected over here. So we will click over here on the area chart. A new chart is being created. Now, the first thing is adding the date. So we will click on order date. And like the line chart, if you remember, this is the hierarchy which has been created, and we can utilize this hierarchy for our benefit to go 1 level or 2 level up to the 4 level down, which is day. Then what we will do is have the product category over here and then the sales information. And now our chart is created. If let me expand that in or go into the focus mode so that we can focus on this chart. So clearly, if you see, we have this the same furniture, office supplies, and technology over here in each of these category. So it is showing you right now we are at 2010. What is the value? In 2011, what is the value? In 2012, what is the value? And clearly, if you see, like I explained earlier, in comparison to 2011 and 2012, office supplies is the area which is shrinking, and that's the area probably the management need to see that why it is going down. So this basically calls for a next level of action, or this is a sort of a story which you can take to a next level to basically help them understand in which area the sale is going on, whether it is some product which is creating issue, or whether it is there are a lot of returns which is creating issues. So it basically creates that story. So that is a separate topic altogether, which I will probably cover in a separate video. But this information is now here, and we can go a level down. So if I just click over here, that means the drill down is active. So if I go 1 level down in 2000, let's say 12, I will just click here, and in 2012, now here I am. If you see, in 2012, when it comes to office supplies, it has gone down to very low level over here, and then it has increased, right? So it again, if I go 1 level down in April, then I'll just click here, and it will show you the quarter information for April, May, and June. So it's the same information which I showed you earlier, and you are feel free to play around with this, which is one is this, that you can go 1 level down by enabling this. As I was clicking on a data point, it was going 1 level down. If I need to move up, I will just click here, it will move up, and right now we are at the highest level, which is year. As you can see, year is present over here, which is the highest level. The second option here, which we explored earlier in the line chart as well, is going to the next level of hierarchy. So after year, what you have is the quarter. So if we click over here, what you see is the quarter information, but this quarter, as I explained in the line chart as well, is the aggregation of 4 years, which is 2009, 10, 11, and 12. So keep in mind when you are looking at this information, and why this information is helpful is to basically understand how the quarter 1 is over a period of years, or how the quarter 2 looks like when you aggregate the information over a period of 4 years. So clearly quarter 2 is where usually your sales are down, and quarter 3 and quarter 4 is basically the time frame when your sales are up. So it gives you sort of a seasonal, cyclical, or a better trend as how each quarter looks like when you look at your multiple years together. Now once you have this, if I just, you can go further down. So these are the different years, and again you can go down up till the dates, but doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So if I just go up, and here in 2010, here if you see, this will going to expand all of the quarters. Earlier we see only 4 quarters, but if I click here, it will show you the each quarter along with each year. So that's the difference between those two. And as you will click more over here, you will go more level down into the hierarchy, and you will have the visualization as per your needs. But that's mainly I wanted to show you the different options similar to the line chart which is present over here, and how you can interpret and create this visualization, which is the area chart. Very useful to look at the categories information, whether they are expanding or shrinking over a period of time. That's about it, and now I'll meet you in the next topic. Hello there, and welcome to the new topic, which is how to create Power BI stacked area chart. So stacked area chart is very similar to the line chart or the area chart that we have created earlier, and the only difference is this, that the categories are stacked on top of each other. So it's again a slight different representation, but shows you the same information. That means the trend over a period of time and whether the categories is shrinking or not. So what I mean by that is, let me show you over here by pasting the details. So over here, if you see, what do we have is the product categories is furniture, office supplies, and technology. And if you see these categories, so first is the furniture. So first stack is here. Then second part of the stack is the office supplies. So on top of that, and then you have the third stack, which is the technology. And the only difference you see is the furniture is the lowest one, where you have the low area, then the highest or the bigger size is office supplies, and the most biggest size is the technology. That's a sort of a representation that you get as how each category is big or small when you compare it with the compare it over here in the stack area chart, as well as how the trend moves over a period of time. Now let's go into the Power BI and see how we can create it. So here we are within the Power BI, and to create the chart, which is stacked area chart, we need to click over here on this option. As you can see, this is the sort of representation we got earlier, stack, or the categories one on top of each other. Now we need to select the relevant dimensions and values. So the first dimension is the date dimension. So we will going to select the order date. Then the next dimension is the product category. And the third dimension is the sales. Now we can have the sales or we can have the profit. So let me put it in a focus mode. So once I click over here, it will show you in the focus mode, and same representation which we talked about. It has the trend over a period of time, and it shows you how big the stack is and how they are on top of each other. Now the same options, if I have already explained these options in my previous videos, if you have not looked at it, I highly recommend. Otherwise it is more like I'm repeating myself. So it is basically drilling down. So we are at 2010, and if you want to look at the years or the quarters or the month information, we can drill down. Similarly, you have this option going to the next level. So right now we are at a year, but if you want to look at the quarter, you will click here. Similarly, if you want to look at both year and quarter, or the quarters which is related to each year, it will expand this entire chart to show it. For example, like this. So it's the same information but stacked on top of each other, and gives you the details as how big or small the category is, as well as how the trend is looking over a period of time, which is much more what I think is clean as compared to the normal area chart which we seen earlier, as well as that give us the directional input as whether the category is shrinking or expanding, or whether the sales is going down or going up. So let's come back by clicking on drill. So that's very quickly about how you would going to create the area chart. And like I mentioned, you have a couple of options, like for example the formatting option. If you want to format the x-axis, y-axis, the legend, or some of the general values like the position, height, width, description, so on and so forth, like labels. So data labels is something which is very interesting. If you enable that, you will going to get the data labels over here on each of the category, if you want a total labels or not. So if you want total labels, that will also be enabled for you. And shapes information. So I'm just trying not to go in each and everything, otherwise that's a separate topic altogether onto this. But the third option is basically the analytics, where you can have something like different lines, like the constant line, or as per the chart that you select, the different analytics option is enabled for you. So I leave it up to you, the different option within the formatting to explore or the constant line to explore. But maybe in a separate topic, when a particular topic will arise, the need will be arising to better explore that area, I will explore over there. But if you, in the meantime, if you have any question, please feel free to put it in the comments and I will respond to you. So that's about it for this topic, and I'll meet you now in the next topic. Hello there and welcome to the new Power BI tutorial, where I will going to talk about how you can create the Power BI line and stacked chart. So what is line and stacked chart? Well, as the name suggests, it is a combination of two different charts to reveal some interesting information. So what we will going, or how this chart is really looks like. So just to show you, here is the chart, and if I just paste it and shrink the size, this is how the chart really looks like, which is the line and stacked chart. So if you see, there is a line information and then there is a stack bar chart that we have seen earlier, how we can create that and what sort of information that it reveals. So it shows very interesting information, where on the x-axis it shows the different categories. So for example, your user is asking a couple of things as how the sales across various different product categories, and as well as they want to compare it the regions as well, or the customer segment. So here on the x-axis we have the product category and the customer segment information we have given for each product category. So if that's the ask, that on one category they want to look at how this category is bifurcated by a second category, then you will going to create the stack bar chart, which is straight. But then they come back and tell you that along with the sales information, they also want to look at how much profit they are making. So in that case, we can take the help of the line chart, which is sort of an indicator over here, whether there is a profit or there is a loss that they are making in the category, which sparks another conversation altogether as to why this loss is coming in this category, or why the profit is so high in a different category, like for example this one. So how we can create this chart? Let's go ahead in the Power BI and see this. So here we are within the Power BI, and what I'll do is first remove this existing chart, and here is the option that is present for line and stacked column chart. So once I click it over here, it gives me the blank chart. Now the first thing we need to provide to the shared access is the product subcategory. So you need to make sure that whatever options you are choosing is relevant as per your business users, or sometimes there may be a multiple iteration as well, because sometimes things don't go in the very first shot. So no worries here if you are getting it first time wrong when you are utilizing it in the actual scenario. So shared access is product subcategory. So on the x-axis, that is our shared access for sales and profit. Then the column series is nothing but your bar charts. So for that we have the customer segment, because we want for each product category, we want that particular product category bifurcated by the various customer segment. And then we have the column values. So column values is nothing but the bar values. So we will take sales, as we want to show the sales information. And finally, what you need for the line values. So for line values, what you will provide is the profit as the comparison. So once I click it over here on the profit, if I ever find it, or here it is. So now you see that we have this profit. So if I just put it in a focus mode, so right now we have this profit chart, profit and sales chart, which is clearly giving you an indication as to how the profit or the sales really looks like. But over here, you know, it may give you some sort of indication that here you have the negative sales and here you have the positive sales. But what if you want to provide the altogether independent access to the line chart? So right now it is showing you the sales value, or the sales axis is basically the shared axis between both the sales and profit. So for that, what we need is to come over here in the format, and over here on the y-axis, what we will going to do is come down, and here we will have something which is called as the show secondary. So once we will enable this show secondary, you will see an independent axis for the profit, right? And do you want to align the zeros? So right now the value is finishing at 0. So once you click on align 0, it shows much better information, because in this category you are making losses. So earlier it was not revealing because it was ending at 0, but as you enable the align zeros, it enables this information, which is much better to spark the conversation about what's really going on over here. Similarly, if you see, it may sometimes give the incorrect information, so interpretation is very important. Here we have a sales which is close to 0.8 million or close to 1 million or 0.9 million, sorry, 1.9 million, but no, I'm wrong. So close to 1 million, and your profit looks like is beyond 1 million. So in that case, you need to make sure that you are educating your users that it is not actually 1 million but 300k. So that sort of information or that sort of education is sometimes necessary whenever we are having the independent y-axis for the line chart, because it may result into the wrong interpretation of data. However, this information where you are making the losses is something more useful in this scenario. So yeah, that's mainly about it, but you can basically look at the various different formatting options, again very much specific to how each individual wants or how each company uses, but that's at a high level how you can create the stack bar and the line chart within the Power BI to reveal some interesting information. Now I'll meet you in the next topic. Hello there and welcome to the new Power BI tutorial, where I will going to talk about the Power BI line and clustered column chart. So in the previous video, if you have seen, what we have discussed is the Power BI line and stack chart, and this video or this tutorial is just a change between from the stack chart and the clustered column chart. So how does this look like? So this looks like this. So earlier we had these consumer, corporate, home office, small business categories stacked on top of each other, but this time it is clustered. And sometimes clustering or these cluster gives a much better representation, and that's why I wanted to show you as this as a separate topic as compared to the stack chart. So let me go into the Power BI and show you how easily you can do this. So if you remember, this is the chart that we created earlier. So right now we have these categories, and comparing individual categories along with the other categories becomes really a daunting task or a difficult task for an end user, because they will really have to work with each individual lines or each individual stack of the bar and compare with each other. After some exercise, they will be able to get the information, but how about making their life easier? Because that's the job of the Power BI visualization developer. So what you need to do is simply click over here in the line and cluster chart, and what it gives you is a very beautiful cluster chart where the information or the bars are clustered together for the different customer segment on the office machine. So clearly, in case of the office machine, the corporate segment is leading, but it also shows you how it is doing in the rest of the other categories. Similarly, other categories you can compare either within the cluster or among the various different product subcategories. And that's basically the benefit. And I've seen this chart used a lot in as comparison to the previous chart, the stack chart, because for that you have to do, or your user have to do a lot of exercise to reveal the information. But this clusters will give you a much better information presentation when you have a scenario like this, where you have first axis like the product category and the second axis like the customer segment to create the cluster or to create the stacks. So my recommendation, use the cluster chart on top of the stack bar chart whenever you have this scenario, and this will going to reveal a lot of interesting information. If you are looking for some of the properties that are described like the y-axis and all, please look the previous example for the stack bar chart, where I have explained everything about it from the sheet that I have shared with the description, and you will get to know a lot about it. So that's very quickly I wanted to show you how you can create the cluster bar and line chart within Power BI. Now I'll meet you in the next topic.